The friend who couldn't stop laughing finally stopped laughing and said, "Well, I will tell you about the mystery here. In ancient times, the Taoist hermits and semi-immortals who lived in seclusion in the mountains and forests, far away from fame and fortune, once they obtained miraculous skills and the true scriptures of divination, could they easily spread them to the world and let the people of fame and fortune take these prediction secrets as a ladder to get an official position and make a fortune?" Turf. No. The Tuibei Tu, Zheng Yixin, Fa, Huozhu Lin, Ziwei Du Shu, Shao's divine calculation, and so on that you see today are actually left to us by the ancients for verification, not for teaching future generations how to use them. Needless to say, the profound meaning of the ancients doing this is, of course, that they will be remembered for generations, and more importantly, it is a kind of cultural inheritance and a warning to the world. Of course, in later generations, such as the Yin Yao Pian, which was circulated among fortune-tellers in the late Qing dynasty, it taught fortune-tellers how to use clever means to obtain the other party's family background and life experience. This kind of so-called high-level scriptures is not included in the authentic Yijing methods. Another stock trading friend heard this and was deeply impressed. No wonder the Qin emperor burned books and buried scholars but could not stop the spread of the Yijing theory. It turns out that the ancients had already calculated that even if you burned his books, what he wrote in his books was not all. The core scriptures were all in the masters who passed them down by word of mouth. The Qin emperor could burn books, but he could not destroy all the people. As for us, the younger generation, it is like a martial arts secret book. If you, the descendants, get the book, but don't have the secret formula and the heart method, it's like a blind man lighting a lamp, wasting energy. Hearing this, I asked again, "So have you, the stock trading experts, met a senior hermit who passed on the prediction sutra to you? If this is true, why don't you tell us about it so that ordinary people like us can open our eyes?" As soon as I finished speaking, a friend on the other side took over the conversation. "I don't know about others, but I started learning the Yijing 2 years ago. I also learned the Yijing while trading stocks. I learned the Yijing because I heard from others that this sutra is extraordinary, and all the big names in the stock market are in awe of it, as if it were a theology. So I started to learn it with doubts. At the beginning, I also tried to use it to predict the direction of the stock market, such as the opening and closing of the market, and the highs and lows of the market, but I failed every time. People who often fight in the stock market know that choosing to trade stocks often means thrilling and threatening situations. Or, at least, you have to be prepared for the bruises you suffered in the first half of your life. The most annoying thing is that you have used all your courage, put in countless efforts, and mastered a good martial arts, and you can pick up cakes on the ground and catch thieves on the other side. However, the rules of the game in the stock market are more twisted, more dangerous, more random, and more unexpected than you think. After countless sleepless nights, my black hair turned white by the stock market, I finally understood something. One day, I went to a website about yin-yang and 5 elements and posted a message there. The gist of it was, I am a poor rookie. I studied Yijing 2 years ago and wanted to make some money in the stock market, but I failed every time. Not only did I lose money, but even my confidence in studying Yijing was hit. I bow to all the real immortals here and ask the masters to give me some advice. I just want to get my capital back, and I will be very grateful, and so on. I also attached the detailed calculation process of the 6-ren and 4 pillars prediction rule that I used to predict the stock market trend in the post. Then I waited for a reply. However, after my post was sent, it was like a stone sinking into the sea, and there was no sound. Occasionally, there were posts from passers-by, which were also sarcastic and mocking, and none of them were sincere replies. At this time, I secretly warned myself, if you want to obtain the true scriptures, your heart must be sincere and your will must be firm. The great hero hides in the city, the wise man is pretend as foolish, and the dragon can be seen from the head but not the tail. Although the Taoist master did not reply to my post, it seems that he will definitely see my post. This went on for more than a month. I posted on that website every day without interruption. Suddenly one day, a netizen named Lin Yin San Ren posted a message after mine. The gist of it was, nowadays, when a hexagram comes out, first mark out the empty and broken moon and the hidden moving lines, then find out the broken moon, empty and hidden lines, If the broken moon and empty appear on the lines that were not involved in the previous judgment, you can discard them. To judge the response period, you must analyze around the mindset of use and the moving lines that have an effect on the mindset of use. I have been studying the 6-rin and 4-pillar fortune-telling method for more than 2 years. Now, after being enlightened by a master, I suddenly understood everything. Later, I used the method of Lin Yin San Ren and won more than $100,000 in the stock market 3 times in a row. But as you know, the 6-line 4-pillar method is directly related to time positioning, and one method is only applicable to one time period. When I asked about the rules for other time periods later, the Lin Yin San Ren never appeared again, and the original post was deleted. When everyone heard this, they sighed and felt sorry for the friend's adventure. In fact, in the field of ancient I Ching prediction, there is one person who must be mentioned. That is Xiao Yong of the Song dynasty, who was called Xiao Kangji by later generations. Unlike many ancient predictionists, Xiao Yong's research on I Ching and prediction was not completed in seclusion and not retreated from the society. But he wrote many books as a prominent official and scholar, and he was one of the famous Neo-Confucianists of the Song dynasty. His academic works include Huangji Jingxi and Guanwu Ne Waipian. His works related to I Ching prediction include Iron Plate Divine Calculation, also known as Shaozi Divine Calculation, and Plum Blossom Heart Yi. The biggest difference between Xiao Yang and his predecessors is that he used simple and clear combinations of the 8 trigrams to predict anything you want. This greatly simplified the profound and difficult inferences and analysis of the trigrams in other I Ching works. Xiao Yang's method is simple. For example, you can use numbers to make a hexagram, grab a few leaves to make a hexagram, or see an object to make a hexagram. He used the body and function of life and death, and the 8 trigrams to interpret the mysteries of the world. Xiao Yang's greatest contribution to prediction is that he pointed out that history evolves according to constants. He used his innate Yi numbers and concepts such as Yuan, Hui, Yun, and Shi to calculate the evolution of heaven and earth and the cycle of history. This is the essence of prediction in words. For example, one day Xiao Yang and his son were chatting at home. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. Xiao Yang and his son each made a divination. Soon, Xiao's son said, "It's the neighbor who came to borrow a hoe." Xiao Yang said, "Your divination is basically correct, but he didn't come to borrow a hoe, but an axe." As a result, after opening the door, it turned out to be the neighbor who came to borrow an axe. Xiao Yang made amazingly accurate predictions about the major historical changes that took place in China after his death. Interested readers can read his works. Some readers will definitely ask, after all this talk, what on earth is the prediction of random events in non-inertial systems? If you have this question, then you must be a little obsessed, and I will obsess with you again. According to my understanding, the theoretical basis for using I Ching to predict random events in non-inertial systems should be sought from the following aspects. 1. Mathematically, the transformability of numbers and geometric spaces, as well as the transformability of algorithms, has been proven. For example, we can use logarithms to simplify high-level algorithms into low-level algorithms, and we can use Fourier or Laplace transforms to simplify frequency domain problems into operator domain problems, and then get answers. The points of events that occurred in the past, present, and future time and space can also be transformed to points in a plane or one-dimensional space. The method of transformation is, the random numbers are divided 3 times and 6 lines are obtained. Each of the 64 hexagrams recorded in I Ching has its own different meanings, and the 6 lines that make up each hexagram also have their own meanings. The original, classical, I Ching records that one line is obtained by dividing and combining 3 times, and one hexagram has 6 lines. So 18 changes make a hexagram, a total of 3 sixes, and generating 18 times. 2. The relativity of past events and future events. An event that has happened in the past is an event that we can detect whether it has existed, while a future event is an event that we cannot detect whether it has already existed. Is this really the case? Since the invention of modern physics, we can say that the above inference may be wrong. For example, A star that is a billion light-years away from us may no longer exist when the light it emits reaches our naked eyes. The star we see now may be an object that no longer exists in the past. In other words, we can see a star in the future, but that star actually existed in the past. For another example, Xiao Kangji and his son used the plum blossom heart Yi to calculate that the neighbor knocked on the door to borrow something. For Xiao Kangji and his son, the event of the neighbor borrowing something is an unknown event in the future, but for the neighbor himself, it is a past or ongoing event. 3. The interchangeability of inertial events and non-inertial events. I have already argued in this article, Chapter 1, that inertial events are predictable, while non-inertial random emergencies are unpredictable or difficult to predict. However, many non-inertial random emergencies actually have their inherent inertia. Someone's bad driving habits on the highway eventually led to a sudden traffic accident. However, the person's bad driving habits are a long-term inertial behavior, so they are predictable. For non-inertial events, finding their inherent inertia and their symmetry points in time and space is a valuable asset that the Yijing has passed on to our descendants.
Dear friends, this episode of the video has ended. The next episode will be played in a few days. Don't forget to like and subscribe before leaving.